So just going to record this. So say in Google, you'll use your own Google, the heck is this called? A Gmail. It's like you use your own Google. You can use your own Gmail to build this, or again, you can use your Microsoft, which you have with your Mohawk address as well, either or. Again, before starting an actual form, I strongly suggest starting an actual Word document and ensuring you go ahead and you share this with your, before, goodness gracious, share it with your partner. So the two of you can be in the same document and you can start to log your questions in there. You can use Google Forms if anybody is into Notion. I personally really like Notion. You can use that. Any form of collaboration, you can do it in a Miro board if you really want. Any form of collaboration where the two of you are able to sit and brainstorm and just get your ideas down there is key. Then you can go in and you say, you know, here's, whoopsies. Question one, question two, etc. And then you have a whole bunch of them and you're like, you're working with, okay, well, I think question one and question two are kind of the same. So let's, oh, where's that cross out? That's weird. I was going to use the cross out feature. What the heck? What? Text, strike through. Oh. Strike. And then in the end, you end up with your final questions. Once we have those done, then we're going to go back to our Google Drive potentially, and we're going to say new, and we're going to say Google Form. So we immediately come here to our Google Form. We need to make sure we are giving our survey an appropriate title. So for example, let's say, oops, again. Well, college copy services. Student. Oh my goodness. Copy service, etc. We have a nice introductory statement, but what we also need to make sure here, your participation is anonymous. I always spell this word wrong, so we just rely on that. Your participation is anonymous. One of the other things we need to cover is the length of time. Your participation anonymous, and the survey will. That's another word I always spell wrong. Forget the E. 3 minutes to complete. Once we have that whole introductory in there, again, we don't want to make it too long. We also don't want to just say, I'm a student doing a survey. So it's a fine line, even when we're building too much information, not enough information. So once we get here, would you like to participate, or do you consent to participating? This is a great one, and here we can just say add all, but in this instance, we do not want to give them a maybe option. We can't be wishy-washy here. So it needs to be yes or no, and this needs to be toggled as a required question. The other thing we need to do is we need to hit more options and go to section based on answer. So before I do this, let's just, let's not do that. We're going to build another section. So we have our intro, we have our section, or we have our consent. And then what we need to do is we need to not hit another question. We need to go here and say add another section. You can choose to add extra copy in here, or you can leave that blank as well. And then here's your question 1. What is your age? And then you would add all of your option in here. So again, what we want to do, so now we have section 2. I'm going to go back over here. Why is it showing this? Do you consent to participate? Go to section based. Go to section based on answer. So if we say yes, that means we need them. We want them to continue to section 2. If they say no, we want to cut that survey off. So if we say no, we need them to just submit the form. That means it's done. Because if they say no, but then they fill out the survey, now you're going to get your results and you're like, oh no, someone said no. And now I don't know which answers they provided. Granted, you can go in and look at the actual specific answers, but legally, ethically, when they say no, that form should just be submitted. Granted, if they're clicked on it, they probably are doing this. It's a technicality that we just need to make sure that we are covering our own little bottoms, okay? So making sure that that is outlined. And then we continue to set up our questions. So now we're here, what is your age? And again, you can go online and search what an appropriate age bracket or breakdown is. So we can say 18 to 24, and then we have 25 to 34. One of the other things I often see, if this ends at 34, we don't want this to start at 34, so we need 35. So we make sure, again, like I said, those increments are even. And then one of the last things we can say is add an option, prefer not to answer. Next question, again, making sure we give them all the options. If we are choosing a yes or no question, making sure maybe is there. If we are asking an open question, why do you drink coffee? I mean, you can probably formulate some A, B, C, or Ds, but we can also put in here a short answer. So that now means we're allowing our users to provide an open-ended answer. What I like to do when it comes to open-ended answer is pop that so it's not required. Because the reason is that the reason why I prefer to do that, and a lot of surveys do that, is because when you are asking them to write an answer, it's a longer time commitment. So if they don't want to commit the time to answering a big long question, then we don't want to force them to do this. So you can say, why do you drink coffee? And then you can maybe just put in here, leave blank if unknown, or leave blank if you wish to answer, if something along those lines. I usually just maybe put something like that in italics and then continue on. One of the other things, so this is called multiple choice. Another answering option we can give them is check boxes. That's where you can select more than one answer. Which coffee service do you use? Tim Hortons, Starbucks, whatever they are, maybe they use more than one. So you want to give them the option to select more than one. Okay, maybe it's relevant to allow them to select more than one, but then the next follow-up question is, which one do you prefer the most? And then that's going to be only a multiple choice question versus a checkbox question. Another way we can add things is in a linear scale. So this is where you're going to say, this is good for like a satisfaction-based question. So how satisfied are you with the survey, with the services? We can say 1 to 5. I sometimes feel 5 is a bit short. It's totally up to you to pick. So 1, dissatisfied, 1 being very satisfied, and then they'll be able to use that scale to put that in there. So that might be relevant as well. Once you are done, if you hit the little I, you are able to test your survey. So you can say yes or no here. And then you can, this is how they say next. This is where you can time things. This is where you might think, I didn't really word that properly, because sometimes when you get it actually in here, you start to make a few more modifications as well. Once that's done, you can customize this. You can add a background. There's plugins to add backgrounds, etc. You don't need to. You can just go ahead and just change the color. You can add an image to the header. Once we are done, we are ready to send. I personally collect email addresses. You want to make sure that you say do not collect. And then I prefer to just use a link. So Google will formulate a link, or Microsoft will formulate a link. I usually like to shorten it so it's not a big Subway sandwich URL. And then we just copy this and we paste it anywhere we want. Like I said, that can go anywhere on socials. That can go, you can text it out. You can send that out anywhere. Once that data starts to come in, you'll start to see those spill in under the responses tab. And you can see everything come in. You can also, and they'll also be, once the results come in, they start to formulate graphs immediately. You can gather that data and export that to an Excel sheet. Probably not really necessary in this instance, but you can. And you can also specifically, I believe once the results come in, I think you can specifically separate the data from person to person. I think you can, but again, in this instance, not really relevant. Any questions? I guess if I stop the share, it stops the recording. Okay. Let's take a wee break. And we'll do, it's funny, a wee break. We might have to go for a wee. And we'll just do a quick, a quick exercise on good thing that wasn't recorded. Hopefully no one else is recording me. Marcos, yes, you need a partner. It's mandatory to work in partners in this on this assignment. We'll do an exercise on just like formulating survey questions, and then we'll be done for the day. Okay, so let's take 10 minutes. Oh, I am still recording.